Parents that educate their kids about the risks of using drugs are 50% less likely to consume them than those who don't. The abuse of drugs among teens is a tremendous problem in our society that can be prevented with the proper knowledge and education. I'm going to discuss the reasons why most adolescents start using drugs. I'm going to talk about the many risks that come with drug abuse within adolescence, and finally, I'm going to discuss how we can prevent drug abuse within adolescence with the proper education and knowledge about the situation. First, teens start misusing drugs for many reasons. For example, surrounded by drugs, such as being in parties and social gatherings where drugs are easily accessible. Also, adolescents are often peer pressured by friends and movies. According to the Mayo Clinic staff, first-time use often occurs in social gatherings with easily accessible substances such as alcohol and cigarettes. Another reason why adolescents start misusing drugs is because of mental behavioral health conditions that can affect their judgment, such as mental health conditions that can affect the better judgment of adolescents, mental health conditions such as anxiety, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder also known as ADHD, a family history of substance abuse, and historic traumatic events such as experiencing a car accident or being a victim of abuse are also big factors that can prevent teenagers' judgment. Another example is seeking social acceptance, such as when teens are around friends that use drugs or around people that think drugs are cool, may resort them to start using drugs. As the Mayo Clinic staff states, continued use might be a result of insecurities or desire for social acceptance. Teens may feel indestructible and might not consider the consequences of their actions, leading them to take dangerous risks with drugs. There are various risks that come with drugs, such as substance abuse can gently negatively impact their health of adolescents. According to CDC, drug use can affect the growth and development of teens' brains. It can affect memory, learning, problem solving, and concentration. As they continue to misuse drugs, they may develop adult health problems such as heart disease, high blood pressure, and sleep disorder. Teens affect judgment, may cause them to misbehave and take part in risky behaviors. When teens are under the influence, they feel like they are invincible. This mindset may lead them to make some really bad decisions. They will be more prone to take part in risky behaviors like driving under the influence and unprotected sex. These type of behaviors can put people around them in serious danger and potentially ruin their future. There are risks of drug overdosing within teens. Drug use, again, many teenagers may have the invincible mentality, which leads them to do many stupid decisions like mixing drugs and taking too many. Also, drug poisoning deaths happen when drugs or drugs are taken to an excess or mix. According to the NIDA, there were 4,633 overdose deaths of young men and women between the ages of 15 and 24 in 2018. Substance abuse with adolescents is prevented with proper education. For example, parents talking to their child about alcohol and drug abuse and asking them for their opinions and views of drug abuse is very important. Instead of lecturing your kid on drugs and why they are so bad, it would be better to ask them their perspective on drugs to make them feel like they can talk to you about anything. Talk to your child about ways to avoid peer pressure and staying firm with their beliefs. It is also important to have rules and consequences for teenagers. Giving your child a set of rules for them to follow is very important. As the Mayo Clinic staff states, explain your family rules such as leaving a party where drug use occurs, and not riding a car with a driver who has been using drugs. If your teen breaks the rules, consistently enforce consequences. And last but not least, set a good example for your kids to follow. Drinking in moderation and knowing your limits in front of your child, if you do drink, is very important. Most kids look up to their parents. Kids learn from their actions and behaviors, and most of the time implement them into their own behaviors as they grow up and develop their own beliefs. If parents are a bad influence, there is a higher chance of kids misusing drugs. In conclusion, there are various reasons why adolescents start misusing drugs. And with the proper knowledge and education, we can prevent this huge problem in our society. We need to prevent this problem in our society for the future generations and the health of others.